Have you ever truly considered the impact of your absence? It's easy to overlook, but when you step away, something shifts, not just in their world, but in yours too. Your absence isn't just an empty space, it's a message, a silence that speaks louder than any words. At first, they might not even notice, or maybe they feel relieved because you're no longer there to remind them of what they've ignored. But when someone has grown used to your presence, even if they never appreciated it, they will feel the void when you're gone. Think about it. How many times were you the one holding things together? The one who cared, who worried, who carried an emotional weight they never even acknowledged? You were always there, like the air they breathed, unnoticed, yet essential. And then, when you step away, your absence becomes a vacuum, a silence that suffocates in its own way. But this silence doesn't just affect them, it affects you too. It gives you the space to finally listen to yourself, to realize just how much energy you've poured into them, hoping they'd one day see your worth. And now, in this stillness, you find something priceless: clarity, peace, freedom. Your absence is not about revenge, it's not about bitterness, it's about growth, a step back to see clearly that your time, your energy, and your love are valuable gifts. And if someone couldn't appreciate them, maybe they were never meant for them in the first place. Now you are free. Free to give your energy to those who truly cherish you. Free to grow into the person you were always meant to be. Before you go, if you resonate with Stoic philosophy, don't forget to subscribe to Stoic Station and turn on notifications so you never miss future content. If this video spoke to you, comment 1. If not, comment 2. Your feedback helps us improve. We're here to bring you timeless wisdom for modern life. Thank you for being here. Your absence, an undeniable truth. Have you ever truly considered how your absence shapes both your life and theirs? If you felt the weight of walking away or the power of reclaiming your own peace, comment below, "I honor my silence." Let this be a declaration of your strength, a reminder that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is say nothing at all. Now imagine the moment they finally realize you're gone, not just for a day, not just for a phase, but truly and completely gone. At first, they resist it. They convince themselves this is just temporary, that you'll come back just like you always have. After all, you were the one who stayed, the one who forgave, even when it hurt. But then, that denial starts to crack. It creeps in during the quiet moments, when they reach for their phone and realize you haven't messaged in days, weeks, the familiar conversations. Gone. They try to brush it off, but deep down, they feel the emptiness. And then it hits. Maybe it's a song, a place, a name that comes up in conversation, or worse, an old message from you, one where you poured your heart out, and in that instant, they know you're not coming back. This isn't just losing a person, it's losing a part of their life they took for granted. They replay the past, searching for answers. They remember what you did for them, what you sacrificed, the ways you made their life easier. And with every memory, the realization deepens. They lost something they can never get back. But more than sadness, it's regret. Regret for what they said and what they didn't. Regret for letting pride and indifference blind them to your worth. Regret for never asking, why did I take them for granted? Why didn't I try harder? Why didn't I tell them what they meant to me? But here's the harsh truth. Those questions have no answers. And even if they did, it wouldn't matter, because you're not there to hear them. You've moved on. While they sit there drowning in too late realizations, you are writing a different story. You're not stuck in the past like they are. You're creating a future. You've broken free from draining cycles. From one-sided relationships that made you feel alone, even when you weren't. And most importantly, you chose yourself. They never expected that. But remember this. This isn't punishment. You didn't do this to hurt them. Their regret? It's not your burden. It is not your responsibility to ease it. Instead, you look forward. Their regret is just a ripple behind you, while ahead lies an endless ocean of new possibilities. If you've ever felt the weight of their regret or the freedom of letting it go, comment below, "I release their regret." Let this be your reminder. Their emotions are not your responsibility. Your future shines brighter without the weight of past mistakes holding you back. Pause for a moment. Shift the focus from them to you. For so long, you may have believed that your worth was tied to how much you could give. You poured your energy, love, and time into being their rock, the safe harbor they could always count on. When no one else showed up, you did. When it would have been easier to walk away, you stayed. But here's the truth. The role you played in their story was never really about them. It was about you, about the lessons you needed to learn about yourself, your strength, your resilience, your capacity to love, even when you received nothing in return. They saw you as a constant in their lives, someone who would always be there, no matter what. They became accustomed to your presence, to you putting their needs first, and because of that, they took you for granted. Not out of malice, but out of complacency. You became so essential to their world that they stopped seeing you as a person and started seeing you as a given. And maybe for a while, you believed that too, that you were meant to hold everything together, to endure, to forgive. But be honest with yourself. How much of yourself did you lose in the process? How many of your needs were pushed aside just to accommodate theirs? And then you walked away. But this wasn't just about leaving them. This was about reclaiming yourself. You stepped out of the role they assigned to you, the one they assumed you'd never abandon. Instead, you chose to write a new chapter, one where you are no longer the supporting character in their story, but the main character in your own. And to them, this change is devastating. At first, they won't understand. They'll convince themselves you'll return, just like you always have. But in time, the truth will hit them. They will see that their stability, their comfort, their happiness were deeply intertwined with your quiet efforts. And now, you're gone. Now, they are left to face the void you once filled. But this is no longer about them. This is about you. Your role in their story has served its purpose. It has shown you that you are capable of immense generosity, but more importantly, it has taught you balance. Because knowing when to step back is just as powerful as knowing when to give. Now, you have stepped out of their narrative, and you are stepping into something greater. A life where your worth isn't measured by what you do for others, but by how much you honor yourself. And that is your power. Take a moment to reflect on this. If you are ready to embrace your new story, comment below. I am the main character in my story. Let this be your reminder. Your life is yours to lead. No one else decides the role you play in it. Detachment, the key to freedom and peace. Detachment is often misunderstood. Some think it means indifference, shutting down, or closing your heart. But in reality, detachment is the key to freedom, peace, and personal growth. When you walked away, you didn't just leave them, you chose yourself. You chose detachment. But detachment isn't pretending not to care. It's not about becoming cold or emotionless. It's about understanding what is yours to carry and what was never your responsibility in the first place. For so long, you may have tied your worth to how they saw you, to their validation, their emotions, their approval. You did everything to make them happy. You tried to prove you were worthy of love and respect. But then, you realized a harsh truth. No amount of effort can make someone see your worth if they refuse to. And in that moment, detachment was born. Detachment isn't isolation, it's liberation. Detachment doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means you stop clinging to what was never in your control. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." And that is the essence of detachment. Letting go of what you cannot control. Freeing yourself from their opinions, their regrets, their expectations. Reclaiming power over your own mind and emotions. Detachment sets you free. When you detach, you stop carrying their weight. You move forward, unshackled by their emotions. And here's the irony. The more you detach, the more they cling. The less you seek validation, the more they crave your attention. The less you need their approval, the more they realize what they lost. Because detachment forces them to face themselves, to confront the flaws they once ignored. And that is not comfortable. But this isn't about them. This is about you. This is about reclaiming your energy, your peace, your power. It's about choosing a life where your happiness is no longer dependent on someone else's behavior. Imagine how light your heart would feel if you stopped trying to control what's beyond your reach. Imagine how free your mind would be if you stopped worrying about how others perceive you. Detachment isn't cold, it's liberating. So as you move forward, let this truth guide you. You are not responsible for their emotions. You are responsible for your own. Take a moment to reflect and comment below. I choose freedom through detachment. Let this be your reminder. True peace comes from letting go of what was never yours to carry. Regret comes too late. Regret is a strange thing. It doesn't hit all at once. It grows, like a shadow stretching across the ground as the sun sets. At first, they may shrug off your absence. They convince themselves life will go on as usual, but regret is patient. It doesn't let go so easily. At first, it's just small reminders. A song you both once listened to. A phrase you used to say. A place you once went together. An old message they stumble upon. At first, these memories are fleeting. But over time, they grow stronger. The reminders become harder to ignore. And then, one day, it hits them. They realize what they lost. The memories they buried, the moments they overlooked, the love they once took for granted. And suddenly, they see everything. How much you gave, how much you brought into their life, how little they appreciated you. But by then, you're no longer there. You chose freedom. You chose yourself. You moved forward, and that is the power of detachment. Regret, a burden that doesn't belong to you. This is when the real regret begins. They replay those final moments, searching for signs, wondering if, somehow, they could have done things differently. The things they once brushed off as insignificant. Now they seem strangely important. Why didn't I listen when they needed me? Why didn't I cherish the love they gave me? How could I have been so blind? Regret is relentless. It forces them to face not just what they lost, but, more importantly, why they lost it. It's a mirror reflecting every moment they took you for granted. Every time pride, ego, or indifference blinded them to what truly mattered. But here's the truth. Their regret is theirs, not yours. You are not responsible for easing their pain. You are not obligated to explain or forgive. Their regret reflects their actions, not your worth. While they sit with the growing weight of their own choices, you are moving forward. You are no longer tied to their mistakes, their shortcomings, or their inability to see your value. You have chosen yourself, a life where you no longer need their validation or approval. Let their regret be their lesson, not your burden. If you've ever felt the weight of someone else's regret, or the freedom of letting it go, comment below, "I release their regret." Let this be your declaration of independence, a reminder that you owe nothing to the past, except the lessons it taught you. Now, let's talk about you. Not them, not their regret, but the person you are becoming. Because while they sit in the shadows of their past choices, reminiscing about what they lost, you are living a very different reality. You are not stuck in the past. You are building something new. You are transforming. When you walked away, it wasn't just about leaving them. It was about choosing yourself. And that choice? It wasn't easy. It took strength, courage, and the belief that you deserved more. For so long, you may have believed that staying was noble, that loyalty meant enduring, that your worth was tied to how much you could withstand for them. But then, something changed. You realized that staying wasn't just hurting you, it was holding you back. It was keeping you from stepping into the life you were meant to live. So, you made one of the hardest decisions of your life. You left. And in doing so, you unlocked something extraordinary. You began to see yourself more clearly than ever before. You discovered your strength, your resilience, your ability to grow. You realized your worth was never tied to how much you could give to someone who didn't appreciate it, because your worth is inherent, undeniable, not defined by anyone else. This is transformation. Transformation isn't just about moving forward. It's about rising above. It's about using pain, lessons, and experiences to become the strongest version of yourself. You have discovered a part of yourself you never knew existed, a strength that even you didn't realize you had, a determination that inspires even yourself. And while this change may feel unfamiliar at times, it is undeniably beautiful. And here's the most powerful truth. As you rise, they are watching. They may not say it. They may never admit it. But they see it. They see the life you are building without them. They see your confidence, your independence, your happiness. And it terrifies them because now they are starting to realize that the version of you they once dismissed, the version they failed to cherish, is now thriving in ways they never imagined. But remember this. This isn't about revenge. This isn't about proving them wrong. This is about proving to yourself that you were always capable, that you were always enough. You didn't need their validation then. And you sure as hell don't need it now. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Epictetus. And that is exactly what you have done. You walked away and transformed into the strongest version of yourself, a version they can no longer reach. You have risen beyond their regret, beyond their late apologies, beyond their limited understanding of your worth. So take a moment to celebrate how far you've come. Comment below, "I am rising." Let these words be proof of your growth, a reminder that your transformation is the best response to their regret. But there will be moments when you look back. Be honest with yourself. Moving forward doesn't mean you'll never feel a pull toward the past. The past has a way of calling our names, especially when it's wrapped in memories that once felt like home. There will be nights when the silence feels heavy and you wonder if you made the right choice. There will be days when nostalgia lingers, when your heart reminds you of the good moments, the laughter, the connection, and then they reach out. Maybe it's a message, a call, or just a like on a photo from months ago. In those moments, you might find yourself wondering, have they changed? Do they finally see my worth? Is there a chance to fix things? But here's what you need to remember. Nostalgia makes the past seem better than it really was. It softens the rough edges, fades the pain, and amplifies the good. It makes you forget why you had to leave in the first place. If you go back, what are you really looking for? Closure? An apology? Confirmation that they finally understand your worth? Or just comfort, a familiar place to rest, even if that place once hurt you? The truth is, looking back may bring temporary relief, but it won't help you grow. Who they were when you left may still be who they are now. Change requires effort, time, and deep self-reflection. Not everyone is willing to do that. They may regret losing you, but regret alone isn't enough to create real change. You've already done the hardest part. You walked away. You have built something stronger, healthier, and more fulfilling for yourself. Looking back will not bring you the peace you worked so hard to find. It will only tie you to a past that no longer serves you. So when you feel tempted to return, remind yourself, the past is a place to learn from, not a place to live in. It shaped you, but it does not define you. You chose to move forward, and that is your power. Focus on the life you are creating. Next time nostalgia whispers in your ear, next time their regret tempts you to reach out or respond, take a deep breath. Bring yourself back to the present. Focus on who you are becoming. Comment below, I choose to move forward. Let this be your declaration, a powerful reminder that the past no longer holds you back, and your future is where you belong. When they try to come back, regret turns into action. This is the moment that often follows regret, when they're no longer just sitting with their thoughts, but start acting on them. Because regret doesn't stay still. It grows, festers, and pushes them to undo what they once did. They start convincing themselves that maybe they can rebuild the bridge they burned, that maybe they can get you back. At first, their attempt seems subtle, a sudden message, "Hey, how have you been?" A like on an old photo, just enough to remind you they're still watching. Then it becomes more direct. A long message filled with apologies. Words that sound sincere, as if they've changed. But here's the most important question. Are these actions coming from genuine love, or just guilt, loneliness, and the discomfort of facing their own regret? The harsh truth. Most of the time, they're not coming back for you. They're coming back for themselves. Not because they have truly changed, but because they want to ease their guilt. Because they're afraid of facing life without you. Think about the time and energy you gave them. Think about the chances you offered, the times you forgave. Did they appreciate it when they had you? Or did they take it for granted, assuming you would always be there? Now that you're gone, they're feeling the emptiness you left behind. Your silence is heavy. For the first time, they realize how much they relied on you. But realizing something doesn't mean they've changed. Real change isn't just an apology. It takes effort, humility, and a deep commitment to becoming better. And let's be honest, most people aren't willing to do that. It's much easier to send a quick apology, to say what they think you want to hear, than to truly face themselves and grow. But remember, words without action are just empty promises. And someone who didn't see your worth when they had you probably won't fully understand it now that you're gone. Now, you have a choice. You can let their regret pull you back into the past. or you can protect the peace you worked so hard to find. Ask yourself the hard questions. Are they coming back because they've changed, or just because they miss the version of you that made their life easier? Do they genuinely want to fix things, or do they just want to soothe their own discomfort? Are you willing to sacrifice all the growth you've achieved just to return to something you've already outgrown? The truth is, you owe them nothing, not an explanation, not another chance, not another second of your precious energy. You have already given enough. When they try to come back, remember why you left. When that message pops up, when they try to reconnect, take a deep breath. Remind yourself why you walked away. Protect your peace. You don't need to go back to what you've already outgrown. Comment below, "I protect my peace." Let this be your promise to yourself, a commitment that you choose your future over your past, and that your growth is more important than their regret. Saying no, the hardest decision that brings the greatest relief. One of the most difficult yet freeing things you will ever do is not just saying no to others, but saying no to yourself, to the parts of you that still crave what you know is no longer good for you. Walking away is one thing. Staying away when the past knocks is another. The past doesn't stay still. It comes back in the form of apologies, promises, and familiar comforts, things designed to weaken your resolve. I've changed. I finally see your worth. I'll do better. I'll be the person you always wanted me to be. Sounds tempting, doesn't it? Because deep down, there's always a part of you that wants to believe this time will be different. But here's the most important question. Is this true growth, or just their guilt speaking? The reality is, most people don't change because they suddenly have an epiphany. They change when they are forced to, and more often than not, their regret isn't about you. It's about the void you left in their life. Without you, they have to face themselves. Without you, they have no one to fill the gaps, to give without expecting, to sacrifice without demanding. But you have learned something important. Saying no is not punishing them. Saying no is protecting yourself. It's about respecting the boundaries you worked so hard to build. It's about realizing that your time, energy, and love are precious. And most importantly, it's about knowing they should not be given away so easily to those who haven't earned them. Think about this. How many times have you said yes when your heart was screaming no? How many times have you let someone back in, hoping this time would be different, only to find yourself trapped in the same cycle of disappointment? Saying no is an act of self-respect. It is how you declare to the world and to yourself, I choose peace over chaos. I choose clarity over confusion. I choose growth over stagnation. Saying no is not closing a door on others. It is opening a door for yourself. When you close the door to your past, you create space for your future. When you let go of what no longer serves you, you make room for what truly deserves you. So the next time their regret comes knocking, the next time they show up with empty promises, remember that you owe them nothing, not your time, not your energy, not your forgiveness. You owe yourself the life you've built, the peace you've created, the growth you've nurtured. Now, take a moment for yourself. Comment below, I choose to honor myself. Let this be your powerful affirmation, a reminder that saying no isn't about abandoning someone else. It's about finally choosing yourself. And now, we reach the final chapter of this journey. The peace you have found is not loud, not boastful, not born from victory. It is quiet, steady, and unshakable. It is the calm that comes from knowing you made the right choice, even when it wasn't the easy one. Because leaving was never about them. It was about you, about reclaiming your time, energy, and sense of self, about stepping away from a life where you constantly gave more than you received, about stepping into a life where your worth is no longer up for debate. At first, peace might feel unfamiliar. After all, you spent so much time in chaos, in uncertainty, in relationships that left you questioning your place. Compared to that, peace might feel like emptiness, but in time you realize it's not emptiness, it's freedom. Freedom from the weight of others' expectations. Freedom from the need to prove yourself to people who never truly saw you. Freedom to live a life that is entirely your own. And here's the most beautiful part. This peace is not something they can take from you. No matter how much they regret losing you, no matter how many times they try to come back, your peace is yours alone because it was built on something they can't touch. Your growth, your strength, your self-worth. Think about where you stand now. You have moved forward in ways you once thought were impossible. You have grown into someone who understands that their validation was never necessary, because you have learned to validate yourself. You don't need someone else to complete your life, because you have built a whole life on your own. That is the kind of peace that lasts. So, when you think about their regret, let it serve as a reminder, not of what you lost, but of what you gained. You gained clarity, you gained independence, you gained the ability to let go of what no longer serves you and move toward the life you truly deserve. Your peace is your power. It is the greatest gift you could ever give yourself. It is the most powerful message you could ever send to the world. Because when you choose peace, you choose yourself. If this resonates with you, comment below, "I choose peace." Let this be your declaration that you have stepped out of the past, found strength within yourself, and will never let go of the peace you fought so hard to earn. In my personal view, absence is not just a way for others to recognize your worth. It is, more importantly, a statement of self-respect. For too long, many people have been trapped in one-sided relationships, constantly trying to prove their value, only to be met with indifference. But when you walk away, decisively and with intention, you don't just create a void in their life, you create space for your own growth. One thing I know for sure: regret is not your burden to carry. When someone realizes they've lost you, that's their lesson to learn, not your responsibility to fix. You don't need to go back to ease their pain, because the truth is, if they had truly valued you, they would have never let you go in the first place. What resonates with me the most? Detachment, not indifference, but freedom. Freedom from expectations, from obligations that were never yours to bear. You have the right to stop explaining. You have the right to stop seeking validation. You have the right to stop trying to change how others see you. Your worth doesn't come from their perception of you. It comes from your own. The most important lesson I've learned: peace is not something others can give you, nor is it something they can take away. It comes from within, from putting yourself first, from realizing that not everyone deserves your presence, from having the courage to walk away, knowing you are worth more than being just an option. We've talked about absence, a powerful tool that not only changes how others perceive you, but more importantly, helps you reclaim your own peace. When you walk away, it's not just about leaving someone behind. It's about making a choice for freedom, a choice to put yourself first. At first, they may not realize the impact of your absence. They assume you'll come back, believing this is just a temporary silence. But over time, they begin to feel the emptiness you left behind, and regret sets in. They replay memories, realizing what they once had but failed to appreciate. But here's what truly matters. Their regret is no longer your concern. It is their problem, not your responsibility. We also discussed detachment, not as a lack of emotion, but as a clear understanding of your own boundaries. When you stop trying to please everyone, when you stop seeking validation from those who never truly valued you, you find your true power. You learn to say no, not as a form of revenge, but as a way to protect yourself and the peace you fought so hard to achieve. And finally, the most important lesson, freedom. Not just freedom from draining relationships, but freedom from the thoughts that keep you tied to the past. You don't need their apology to move on. You don't need their validation to prove your worth. You don't need to go back just because it feels familiar. You walked away, not to escape, but to grow. Not to make them regret, but to create the life you truly deserve. And when they finally realize this, when they try to come back, you will know that the only answer you need is, I chose myself. And that is the best decision you ever made. Take a moment to reflect. I choose peace. This is your commitment to yourself. That no lingering past, no late apology, no one can shake the stillness you have worked so hard to build. Thank you for being part of Tramkak Kai. If you found value in these insights, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a lesson that helps you grow stronger every day. This journey is yours, and your peace is worth protecting. Stay grounded, stay strong, and keep moving forward.